Hi guys, welcome back. We're just going to have a quick look at the digestive system. An amazing system. It's essentially one big long tube. You guys have to look at the different parts and briefly explain what each part does, and also talk about the different phases, if you like, of digestion. Now in total, if you were to lay out your digestive system, it would be over 9 metres long. I suggest you don't do that because it hurt a little bit, but that's roughly over the world record for the long jump. So your food goes on a very long process. Now, in the mouth, the food's going to be broken down mechanically. We'll talk about a bit more of that later. Mixed with saliva, going down the esophagus into the stomach, with the epiglottis there covering the trachea to stop the food going into your lungs, which would make you choke, which I'm sure a number of you have done before. Now in the stomach, that's the first phase. The food is liquidized further, and we'll be adding digestive acids from the stomach wall itself. And from the stomach, the food is slowly released into the small intestines. And the small intestines is generally where the majority of your digestion and your absorption takes place. We'll talk about those two terms later. In your small intestines, it's not just a smooth tube as it may look from the diagram, but there are lots and lots, millions even, of little projections like fingers called villi that line the inside of the small intestine. And if you look at a cross-section of the villi, these finger-like projections increase the surface area of the small intestine. So more absorption can take place and digestion is quicker. So the secretions from the liver, the pancreas and the gallbladder are all emptied into that small intestine to help this process happen, to help the food digest and then to allow the nutrients to be released, to be absorbed. Now, after travelling about 6 metres through this small intestine, anything that's left over moves on to the colon or the large intestine. And that's where a lot of the liquids and the salts, they're absorbed back from the remaining digested food and they go into the body. And bacteria helps break down anything that's left over, and it continues its process through the colon until it solidifies more and more, until it eventually passes out of the body through the rectum, stored in the rectum, and then obviously through the anus. Now, if we move on to the next slide here, we'll see that the first two phases of digestion are the mechanical part, which, as I mentioned before, is the physical breaking down of the food by your teeth. Now, your mums may have told you to chew your food more, and you may have ignored them or not, but they were actually telling the truth, because if you chew your food more, you actually help that digestive process going, and the digestive juices will work quicker. The chemical section is all those juices that mix together in the stomach and in the small intestine to help break down the food chemically rather than physically breaking it down through teeth or any other process. And then finally, we've got, well, not finally, second to final, we've got absorption. That's in your small intestine and your large intestine, where all the nutrients are taken out. Your glucose, your amino acids, fatty acids go into the lymph system, and also the water will get absorbed out in the colon. And finally, this time, then we have excretion, which is all the dangerous stuff we're trying to get out of the body. Now, the kidneys, they process the urine, the liquid excretion, the liquid waste, and then in the large intestine, that processes the solid waste, the feces, which passes out in the rectum and through the anus. So if you describe all the different processes and also all the components of the digestive system, you won't go too far wrong. Until next.